And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and it's time to talk about my team Limited. Limited is kind of rough this weekend as you need to use only players with a 75 or lower three-pointer. So we got the 75 or lower God Squad out here. Derrick Rose, ML Carr, Scottie Pippen, Josh Smith, Moses Malone. And then on the bench, we got Slick Watts, Alex English, James Worthy, Danny Manning, who I never get a chance to use, Ha Sung Jin, Vin Baker. Now, this isn't exactly the God Squad. There are other guys who are a little bit better in this regard. You know, guys like Nate Thurman. Who's someone else? So, as far as your coach goes, highly recommend running a 7 seconds coach as opposed to space and pace or really anything else, just because you will get massive 3-point boosts, even to guys on your rotation like centers and power forwards and stuff, which could be immeasurably helpful in this regard for Limited. And look at my man Allen Iverson. Like, look at the drip he has. The drip alone is inspiring. Danny Manning could never have drip of that nature. Now, there are other guys you could use aside from the guys I've laid out in front of you. I don't know. There's some more expensive options. I'm just using what I have available. DeAndre Ayton is somebody you'll probably run into at least once or twice. A lot of people are going to use Ha Sung Jin instead, though. I mean, doesn't really matter realistically. If you're looking for defense, someone like Tyson Chandler is definitely someone you could run. He's going to be almost unstoppable. Look, this is going to be an absolute zone fest regardless. Joe Barry Carroll, this is probably the most slept on card in the game, at least when it comes to non-shooting big men. Really solid. Then there's Juwan Howard, who you guys know how I feel about Juwan Howard. I hate this card so much, but for this limited run, he might be pretty decent. Like, if we're being serious here, like, I'm gonna run Vin Baker and probably Juwan Howard in my non-used bench slot. He does seem to make more whites than everybody else, which is infuriating, but it is what it is. I really don't want to have to use this card, but like, sometimes you just have to put your pride aside. Then obviously my boy Christian Laettner's in the mix too. Of course. I mean, I can use Christian Laettner. I'm going to use Christian Laettner. Plus, he got the wettest release in the game. That's not up for debate. That's just facts. Science, really. Looking at some other cards that you could realistically run. In the primetime set, obviously, guys I talked about, like Nate Thurman. He's one of the fastest centers in this game outside of George Mikan. So, definitely someone you could run. I wish I could have used Rick Barry. He's just got slightly too good of a three-pointer. If you're on next gen, Tim Duncan's still going to be a really good option because post play is still like a very viable thing to do over there. DeMar DeRozan, if you have him, it's not worth going to buy him, but if you have him, yeah, definitely. One of the best cards you can realistically run is Gerald Wallace. He's an unstoppable defensive monster, basically, for lack of a better term, and he's got a really easy to green jump shot. So if you run into someone with Gerald Wallace, you are not about to have a fun time, like at all. Kareem, realistically, any of the pink diamond mega centers that can't shoot threes are going to be options. Thurmond, Kareem, Wilt, etc. There's really no one else to use. I mean, Scottie Pippen's really good. He's kind of one of the cards that I'm the best with on this squad, and he's like 12,000. Another guy would be Juwan Howard, and then Desmond Mason would be another incredibly good option for this limited run. If you happen to have him, I don't think he's worth spending, 10 to 12k on personally, but if you already have the card, it's definitely not a bad card to pick up. He's got Hall of Fame Limitless. Even the non-signature one is fine with Gold Limitless. Like, realistically, pretty much every card that can be used in Limited is going to be expensive at this moment. Like, Derrick Rose is ridiculously expensive. I think that this is the only time I would say that masked Derrick Rose is significantly better than non-masked, because that gold blinders is going to be very, very helpful, especially when you're dealing with consistent 2-3 zones. Masked LeBron or non-masked LeBron are also good options too. You can get LeBron for like nothing. Darrell Griffith, I've heard people say that he's really, really good and he makes a bunch of whites, which is unfortunate. I'm not a big fan of this card, but some people really like him. Realistically, you just want to use people that you can green with consistently, or at least that you can green with consistently. Like, I know I can green with ML Carr because I used him for a while. I'm not saying I'm going to be greening 70% with him, but I can green the occasional shot. Obviously, you're going to want to do the limited warm-up and get Andre as well, Andre Miller. I didn't do that yet. It just seems like a lot of work. I'm just going to run Slick Watts for a little bit instead. If I had a non-upgraded Chris Boucher, I would absolutely be using him because I believe he has a 75 three-pointer. Jamal Wilkes is another guy you could use. Pretty easy to time jump shot. Really not too many other guys outside of my Vin Baker. That's my boy. He's definitely coming in to get some minutes in this upcoming limited game because why not? I wish Adrian Dantley had just like a 2-point less three-pointer. To be honest, I would totally use him. If you're looking for defense, Dennis Rodman will work just fine, I guess, in a pinch, but I prefer to use someone a little bit either more athletic or more offensively sound than someone like Dennis Rodman, which is why I'm going to use like Danny Manning or Juwan Howard. Ugh. All right, so we're facing against somebody who has a pretty decent squad. Russ, Marquise Johnson, LeBron, Josh Smith, who you're going to run into every game, like legitimately. So right off the bat, I'm not doing any defensive settings. I'm going straight, turning that off and just going into a Hawks freelance. Maybe I'll use like 4-1 active or whatever. Maybe I'll use Pelicans. That's about it. Like, I'm not going to do anything crazy in regards to my settings. I just don't think it's really worthwhile to do defensive settings at this point. I mean, yeah, maybe you can get people to stop rim running with it, but that's about it. So my man has Pink Diamond Wilt. That's not usually a good sign. So what you're going to want to do in limited right off the bat is, in addition to engaging like Hawks freelance, because it's going to open the floor up, you're going to run into zones every single game because, you know, 3-point shooting is low. You're going to run into zones. There you go, Moses. Now, when you get on the defensive side of the ball, here's what I would recommend doing. Look, if you don't want to run a 2-3 zone, which I highly recommend you do, if you don't want to do that, get that out of Moses' house. I highly recommend leaving them open for 3-pointers. And why I say to do this is, look, your opponent is not going to make a lot of whites, okay? Look at that. Good steal. Look at ML Carr just hustling. Like, your opponent's not going to make a lot of whites regardless what happens, right? So you might as well test their merit. Look at Scotty. Oh, there we go. Good board, Moses. I like Moses Malone a lot. Scotty, take it to the rack. Nope. Oh, I was ready to pop that. Oh, Moses. You got so lucky right there. Oh, he's about to get this off. Good block, ML Carr. So far, we got a steal and 2 blocks. Like, we're really holding it down. I mean, I am using, like, an all-defensive squad. But, yeah, I would allow your opponent to shoot a 3 or 2 just to kind of test their mettle a little bit, just to see what you're dealing with. I mean, if you jump into the game and the dude immediately whites 2 straight 3s, you're going to be having a decent time. You know what I mean? If he breaks 2 3s immediately with his team, you know that you can leave him open for the most part, and you should be fine. If he comes through and just immediately greens 2 open 3-pointers, you know you got to play a little more honest. You know what I mean? So that's what I recommend doing, like, if you can. Like, I'm not saying give up 3s on purpose, but if you see him open, there we go. Scotty, get big on him. That's what we like to see. Use that bent-up anger that you feel towards Michael Jordan and your ex-wife and put it into basketball. So right off the bat, like, I know for a fact he's not shooting with Russell Westbrook, so I went straight into a 2-3 zone. Nice, stepped out of bounds. Like, no one's going to really have shooters in this. Oh, you're pressing? That's cool. Yeah, you're going to get pressed in 2-3 zone pretty much every single possession, which is fine. You can beat the press like this all day. Honestly, anybody who presses in this mode specifically, they just don't know what they're doing. They just know that people do that. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody presses you in this specific limited mode, you know they actually don't know what they're doing. Like, normally, people press, you know, for functionality reasons. Sometimes, especially in my team, people just press because that's what they think they have to do. The long 2 is going to be your best friend this time because majority of the guys you're using probably have a low 3-pointer, obviously, but they probably have a decent mid-range. Like, someone like ML Carr has a decent mid-range, but a terrible 3-pointer. That's going to make it a lot easier. I'll step over the line 90% of the time, you know, if I'm open enough, instead of taking the 3. Why not, you know? Get off Pippen, dude. You need to stop. You need to leave my boy Scotty alone. Oh, I was about to range that. You know what time it is, Moses. Oh, I'm usually pretty green. See, if you were playing against me and I've bricked this many white 3-pointers already, chances are you would leave me open a little bit more. instead of allowing me to get into the actual middle, which is kind of what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Oh, you just had to hack my boy Derek? Oh, no, where are you going, Smitty? Oh, adios. Vin Baker didn't even get to come in. So as you can see, the strategies work. Look, 2-3 zone, Hawks freelance 5 out, use guys that you can green with. And hopefully you'll have success. As always, it's been your boy Cheap Loots, and I appreciate all of you guys. Have a good day.